2103. Several attempts are made to sabotage the colonization mission being mounted by Weyland-Yutani in the form of the USCSS Covenant. Sergeant Daniel Lope, security officer, is targeted, while Jenny Yutani, the daughter of the company's CEO, manages to foil her own abduction attempt. Daniels on the Covenant averts a bombing crisis. Hideo Yutani manages to trace the sabotage to a group called the Earth Savers. Fanatics convinced that the nightmares of their leader, Duncan Fields, are premonitions of Earth's destructions by monsters from the stars. Lope, along with Sarah Rosenthal, managed to fool the group and capture Fields. A final attempt at destroying the Covenant by ramming it with a cargo shuttle is then foiled when pilot Tennessee reprograms Lander 2 to intercept it, destroying both of those vessels. 2104, the Covenant colonization ship carrying thousands of human embryos and humans alike takes a detour to an unnamed planet on its way to Origai 6, where the crew discover David. After the incursion on the planet, where most of the crew are killed, David is revealed to have survived the Prometheus expedition and bioengineered an alien organism. He brings this organism's embryos on board alongside the human embryos, and the ship continues its journey to Origai 6. There is currently a mystery error between Covenant and the original Alien film, where we suggest a final prequel film will presumably occupy, so we'll be moving on to the events of Alien and the events following. 2120. Space vessel Nostromo leaves Earth. 2122. Weyland-Yutani Corporation detect a signal being broadcast from the derelict on Acheron, or LV-46, the middle moon of 3 orbiting the ringed planet Kalupmos. While the language was unknown, the company succeeded in deciphering enough of the message to learn that it was a warning regarding a deadly species known as Xenomorph. They dispatched the USCSS Nostromo to investigate, without the crew's knowledge, leading to the initial human contact with the Xenomorph. The death of all but one of the crew members and the loss of the Nostromo itself, while the incident and existence of the Xenomorph was apparently covered up by those involved. 2137. Weyland-Yutani Executive Administrator Nina Taylor advises Sevastopol Space Station representatives from the company will be arriving to the station shortly to retrieve the flight recorder recently discovered from the lost Nostromo ship. Weyland-Yutani are made aware from an internal source of the presence of a Xenomorph within the station and make plans to buy out Sevastopol. They soon after secretly purchase Sevastopol Station, which is followed by a company protocol system being installed on the Apollo computer, and Special Order 939 is issued. A quarantine and communications lockdown are put in place, and the destruction of the Anesidora takes out one of the Sevastopol's orbital stabilizers, causing it to begin to fall towards the atmosphere of a nearby planet, of which it eventually burns up without the company being able to obtain a Xenomorph specimen. 2157. Hadleys Hope, a human terraforming and research/mining colony, was established on LV-426, and the settlement was co-financed by the Extrasolar Colonization Administration and the Weyland-Yutani Corporation. 2179. After drifting in stasis for 57 years, Ripley, sole survivor of the Nostromo, is rescued and returns to LV-426 because of a lack of contact from a new human colony there called Hadleys Hope. The ensuing events lead to the destruction of the atmospheric converter upon LV-426 and the loss of the Hadley Hope base. As a means to kill the Xenomorph population there, the only survivors of the destruction of the atmospheric converter, a small group consisting of Ellen Ripley, a colony survivor named Newt, Corporal Hicks, and an android Bishop, set course for Earth after these events. Weyland-Yutani was also heavily involved in the colonization of extrasolar planets, including the terraforming of suitable bodies with inhospitable atmospheres through the construction of atmospheric processing plants. The company also operated numerous research and development facilities throughout the galaxy, often purchasing top-secret research into illegal or dangerous fields, focusing in particular on the study of the xenomorph species. Major Weyland-Yutani laboratories included installations on LV-1201, BG-386, and the Origin facility on LV-426. These labs often operated under particular amoral conditions, especially where the xenomorph research was concerned. Humans were frequently used as unwilling hosts for the creature, while some teams were even known to deliberately sacrifice low-level Weyland-Yutani employees as live prey in xenomorph tests. On BG-386, inhabitants of the planet's colony were apparently abducted in use for research, often under the pretense of being promoted to a new position elsewhere on the planet. Despite tight security, typically enforced by Weyland-Yutani, these research facilities were notorious for containment failures and outbreaks. Eventually, events that usually led to huge losses of life among staff and any civilians unlucky enough to be caught in harm's way. Shortly after the fall of Hadleys Hope base, the survivors heading towards Earth experienced a fire aboard the ship, resulting in the hyperspace stasis pods to be ejected and land on the planet Fury 161. A penal colony nearby rescues Ripley, and she eventually discovers that at least a single FaceHugger had got aboard and was responsible for the fire on the ship and her impregnation with the Xenomorph Queen. Weyland-Yutani learn of this through a transmission from the penal colony and dispatch a unit to capture a xenomorph drone present and obtain Ripley to extract the xenomorph embryo from within her. Ripley, however, manages to kill the alien and herself before the company can stop her. However, her DNA is recovered from the facility and held in as a high priority item, as it is a splice of half xenomorph, half human DNA. 2290s. Weyland-Yutani begins experiencing financial and political pressures. A colony successfully sued for independence, effectively removing itself from the company's influence, and 2 years later, Weyland-Yutani lost out to rival conglomerate Ridton on a contract to supply the United Systems military with FTL drives, severely affecting the company's financial performance. In 2349, mega corporations such as Weyland-Yutani were outlawed altogether. The company fought harshly for its survival, but after 3 years of costly litigation, the ban was upheld and Weyland-Yutani formally folded. Many of the company's weapons and R&D interests were taken over by the USM. However, even during this time, agents of Weyland-Yutani continued to operate in secrecy. The company utilized contracts from the USM, who passed them information about their various research projects. 2379. Following the crash of the USM Auriga on Earth, Weyland-Yutani seized much of the information collected about the xenomorphs by the USM for their cloning of Ellen Ripley and her previously acquired DNA and their subsequent xenomorph experimentations. Incorporating it into Alien, the Weyland-Yutani report, an extensive report of the species xenomorph XX-121 and humanity's historical encounters with it. Following the fall of the USM, Weyland-Yutani eventually re-emerged as a powerful multinational corporation, a resurgence fueled by the company's role in cleaning up the heavily polluted and damaged Earth, and the corresponding surge in public approval and support that went with it fueled a new era for the company. So thank you so much, guys, for listening. If you did enjoy, please leave a like, and if you have any ideas for future videos, please leave them down in the comments. If there's anything you would like to ask about, please leave it down in the comments. And that's basically it, guys. So if you did enjoy and you want to keep supporting the channel, you can subscribe and also check out my Patreon page. where you will gain access to early insider information and information about what will be coming up and help me plan what videos we can make. And that's basically it, guys. So I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.